CITV, and welcome to another edition of PW Personalities. I'm here with Special Ed Assistant Walt Runge. Now, this has been delayed a couple weeks due to inclement weather. I can't tell you, I've been so excited to do this interview, and it's such an honor to have you on today.
It's a pleasure,
Thank you for taking the time to be here. So I guess what we'll start with is, so were you born in Colonial District?
No, I was born in Brooklyn.
Okay.
I didn't move to this area till like 1990, so I kind of bounced New York, St. Louis. I went to school in Texas, lived in San Francisco, Alaska, went back to St. Louis, and then ended up here, after San Francisco.
So moving around quite a lot.
Dude, it's easy. If you're a musician, you can always find work. You know, it might not be the greatest work ever, but you can always find something to do,
So when did you start teaching?
So I started working in the district, I think it was around 2001 over at Plymouth Elementary. What I had done, I had put together music groups for kids with autism. But I was setting up everything, you know, the venue, the program, contacting parents associations, and doing a lot of legwork. And it was a lot of work, you know. So when I found out that every district in the area has special ed programs, I applied, you know, Colonial, and here I am.
I really respect that. And so with the program you're in, was there any specific influence that made you want to work with more specially educated classes?
Not really. I was interested in working with little kids. I mean, at first I developed the program that I had for kids with autism. But moving into Colonial School District, I was more just, during the interview, the gentleman said, you know, there's not a lot of males in the elementary schools. Would you be uncomfortable doing that? And immediately I'm thinking, wow, you know, I can't, you know, when I was in elementary school, there were no guys. They're all women teachers. And sure enough, when I went to Plymouth Elementary, I was the only male other than the custodial staff. So I got a kick out of that. You know, I thought, wow, you know, just being somewhere where really young kids get used to the idea of having a male adult around, you know, and it was really unique, especially for the boys.
I'm sure it's something you'll take with you and you definitely remember. And
yeah.
So do you have anyone in your family that was in education at all?
No. In fact, my family, man, I don't know where I came from. It was a huge problem with me because none of my family went into entertainment. None of them were in music. My brothers, I had two brothers. One played violin, one played trumpet. So it was real mystery as to where I fit in with that whole crowd, although they're family. I did find out that my grandfather studied music in Germany. So he studied piano and violin. And so when I started having lengthy conversations with him, it wasn't until I got to Alaska. So imagine a German immigrant gets to Brooklyn. I get, you know, little by little, I worked my way to Alaska. I ended up staying up there for a year or so, and I'm calling him saying, yay, we're on the other side of the continent, you know? But during those conversations, I found out that he studied music in Germany when he was a kid. And then he became a baker, and that's what ended up bringing him here. So that's hence the name of the album, Baker's Dozen. So it's kind of an homage to my brother.
So are you first generation German immigrant or?
Second. The third.
Okay.
Third. So it's my grandfather, my dad, and then us.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then so with that being said, with Baker's Dozen, with the album cover, I noticed that you had pictures of yourself. Did you have someone help you with that, or?
Yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna blow her last name. She's actually a graduate of PW. She was a senior last year. Hannah. And Fontanera? Fontanera. And so I had met her in a couple different classes, and I just liked her personality. You know, she's just crazy enough to be creative. So yeah, I thought of the concept, and we put it together. We put it together right here in the studio. She was thrilled. I mean, you know, when you look around here, this is a great studio. And so we did it behind green screen. She shot all the pictures she needed and then put the whole thing together on Photoshop. And she was brilliant, you know, it was great.
So typically when I see you around the school, typically you're towards the D wing. So what subject area are you typically teaching with?
I work with Mrs. Byler in her social studies classes primarily. I mean, I can end up anywhere, but yeah, that's what I'm doing primarily.
So is that one of your main interests, really?
Yeah, I'm real lucky in that respect that I'm not stuck in a math class.
I couldn't agree with you more.
No. But yeah, we dive into history. We talk about global studies. We talk about, you know, stuff that I'm really interested in. So
that's good. It obviously makes it a little less painful.
Oh, it's great, man.
You like teaching. And,
yeah, it's great.
So I guess now this will be the last point of this segment of the interview. What is it like being a musician and a teacher?
I finally embraced the fact that I'm a good teacher. Even when I went to college, I studied jazz performance. I was not interested in being a music teacher. It's only later on now that I'm really getting into it. So I teach music, I teach here, I teach Tai Chi. I don't know, I end up teaching everywhere I go, so it's...
So you keep yourself busy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So we will be going to a quick commercial break. We'll shortly be talking a little bit more about his album and his other musical works, and we'll even be playing on the keyboard, so we got a lot of exciting stuff ahead. So while we were on this commercial break, I was talking to Mr. Runge here, and so you didn't quite tell me, but is it true that you know Smokey Robinson?
Who told you this?
Mr. Carr.
Mr. Carr, okay, all right. So I met Smokey Robinson. He was a very cool guy. We were playing actually in King of Prussia, and we knew he was going to be there, and so we pulled together a few tunes, playing a few Smokey tunes, and he was like, he's such a sweet guy. He sent his manager up there, and he's like, dude, you just made Smokey's day. Like, he'd love that. Can he take a picture with you? And we're like, can he take a picture with us? Are you serious? You know, it's like, sure. So he took a picture of, and my girlfriend happened to be there. And so I'm texting her like, hey, Smokey's gonna come up. We're gonna take a picture with Smokey. Get up here, right? Come to find out that he was flirting with her the whole time. Yeah, you know, so Smokey's hitting on my girlfriend while I'm on stage. And I'm thinking, this is a great story, this is great. But yeah, he's really cool. I don't know him personally, but I did get a chance to meet him, and what a thrill.
So would you say he's one of your inspirations in music, or would you say there's maybe someone else that's like a greater inspiration?
No, I mean, you're influenced by everything. Like, you know, this experience is going to change the way I write. You know, and if you accept it, that's great. You know, well, you heard the album, so you hear what's kind of coming out. I recorded 32 tunes for that album, and we chose those. And then the second album's done. I'm working on the third.
Wow.
So, what influences me? It's like everything influences me. Everything, everybody. Smokey, Steve Vai on guitar, Franz Liszt on piano, Bill Evans on piano, Prince. I got my Prince necklace on.
Hey, there we go.
You know, gotta have my Prince guy. So Gladys Knight. I mean, who doesn't influence me?
So it's a whole wide range of different musicians and sounds and...
Yeah, and I've been really lucky that I've been able to perform like a multitude of different styles. Like when I got to Philly, I said, all right, I'm gonna play blues. And I did it for like 7 years. I worked in nothing but blues bands. St. Louis, when I got back from Alaska, and I got to St. Louis again, I hit funk bands, and I was just funk all the time. And then we incorporated other things, but yeah, I've been really lucky in that sense. So it comes out in my writing too.
And then, so with the wide range of different types of music you've been in, how many different instruments can you play?
Just piano,
keyboards.
Yeah. There are some times when I'll work out a bass line. I think Bring It Home.
Okay.
I'm playing bass on that. I think there's one other tune I'm playing bass on, but I'm not going to say I play bass. I'm not going to. I've worked out some guitar parts, you know, for the second album, but I'm not going to tell you that I'm a guitar player. You know, I've got a great guitar sound that I use for solos on this album. Developed that over several years. So I go to keyboards because I can do anything on those, you know.
So was there any reason in particular you chose jazz as the more direction of this album?
No. No, I just write what comes out, you know, and I think that again gets back to I listen to everything, I play everything, so whatever comes out, comes out. We did 32 tunes because I couldn't group anything into one. You know, I didn't record 15 tunes and go, okay, there's an album, because they didn't go together. You know what I mean? It has to be cohesive somehow. So we did 30 songs. Those 13 happened to work together. That's what I get. The next 12, that's album number 2, About Time for Love. That's what that one is. Hopefully the rest of them kind of go together and I don't have to record like 40 tunes before I got another album, you know?
Get all together.
Yeah.
And so when you make this album, you're doing all of the behind the scenes stuff yourself.
Everything, yeah.
That is impressive. I mean, there's from when I was listening to it, there's so many different sounds and these little like pieces in there, like harmonica. I noticed on Yours for Good. Like it's so impressive. And
oh, cool.
That takes a lot of talent.
I'm glad you like it.
So when you're making an album like this, obviously you're saying you have a lot of inspiration, but is there ever a time when you have a block and it's just you can't make it, or do you just feel like it's all a very fluid process?
There are times when I get an idea. For example, I wrote a melody line. I had that. And I had that. So I sat on those 2 lines for like 6 or 8 months. They just went nowhere, right? So eventually, somehow or another, the chords finally came to me and boom, I finished the tune. But I'm always working on something else. If this stops me here, I'll sit down and do something else, you know? That's how I work around that.
And then, so I guess I can't really relate to this because I'm not a musician, but I heard some describing when they make an album and they make these sounds, it's like a child to them. It's like this sacred thing. Would you really say that music is such a important thing to you, like when you're creating it and working with it and fine-tuning it?
Wow. It's
a little deep there.
I know there are a lot of people who are like, okay, this is my baby, and now I got to let it go, right? That kind of thing. There's a component to that. I would argue that an idea is in itself a thing, okay? It's not mine. I'm given that idea. That idea goes out looking for somebody to give birth to it, bring it into this world, okay? That's why I laugh about this, because this is something that I've experienced just recently. So if I don't produce that idea, if I don't bring that idea to life, that idea is going to go looking for somebody else to do it. And so, is it sacred? Is it precious? It is if you decide that you are going to grapple with it. Some things come quick. Elton John wrote songs in 10 minutes. Bernie Taupin had given him a lyric. If that song didn't write itself in 10 minutes, he was like, it's not mine. It's not mine to work with. I will massage an idea until I get it where I want it. But the best ones, they just like drop in your lap, man, you know? Is it sacred? Yeah, God just gives you stuff sometimes. You know, other times you got to work at it, you know?
And so I guess we're going to end this part of the segment.
Okay.
And we're going to go and start playing some stuff. So I'm really excited for this. This is the part I've been waiting, you know, so long for.
Okay. We're going to play?
Oh, yeah. So
all right.
We're going to cut to a break real quick, and then we're going to start jamming, folks. So see you soon.
ideas.
Folks, in a matter of seconds, I was able to learn how to be able to play a rhythm on a song here by Mr. Runge. He's just a musical genius. So, I mean, where do we start? There's so much to talk about. That was fun right there, and I was just hitting 4 little keys there.
Hey man, they were the 4 right notes. You know.
So a couple minutes ago, we were talking about that one, the little things that you had on the keyboard that you were trying to put together that you were on a stalemate with. Which song was that in on the album?
Wow. So, okay, I'm going to simplify that.
Okay.
What was the hardest one to record?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's so many. The Palladium is a cover. It's a weather report tune. It was written by Wayne Shorter. So that was only because when I write my own music, I just go and do whatever I want to do. Whatever the song asks for, I just give it. Yeah, the song's like, I want an oboe. Great, here's an oboe. I want a guitar. You know, okay, here's a guitar. But with Palladium, like, this is a band that's like really well known and, you know, in the jazz circles. So I wanted to kind of do it justice, but I also did not want to just re-record the song.
You
know
wanted
what I
to
mean?
give it a little bit of your own spin.
Yeah, I wanted to give it something different. So I took a lot of what I heard from the record, but by the same token, I tried to put things in there that just, you know, were new, something different.
Yeah, I put little notes from the song, so I was saying with that one, it made me want to dance a little bit. It was like it was a fun little song.
Oh, dude, there was so much percussion going on in there.
Oh, yeah.
I just piled percussion into it, and it was nuts.
And it worked. It really did.
That's cool.
So the one song, 10th and Pine, when I heard the name, I was wondering if that had any significance with it. Is that like an important street address or anything like that?
That, I mean, not important to me. I was sitting at home working the tune out, and my girlfriend was there, and I just was kind of like, I'm at a loss for a title, you know. So I was like, I'm playing, and I'm like, does this remind you of anything? And she recalled living in Philly, and she says to me, and this is after a long time, I'm like waiting and waiting for an answer, right? So she says to me, yeah, there was a bus stop that I will always kind of, like if I was going anywhere, I started at 10th and Pine. And she goes, I don't know, I'm just sitting there thinking, listening to the song, and I'm thinking of that bus stop. So yeah, that's where the title came from.
If you wouldn't mind, for the folks on this video, would you mind playing a little
I don't remember it.
No?
I honestly don't remember
I mean,
it.
I remember from the notes I took on it, it was just like, it reminded me of my grandfather listens to jazz a lot. It reminded me of one of the records he would listen to, and it's unlike anything that's out there today. You know, it's such a unique sound, especially with that genre.
That's cool. I'm having trouble placing stuff because of that. I'm getting airplay out in the Midwest. There's a DJ that picked up 5 songs, one of them. I don't even think he picked up 10th and Pine, but he's playing a lot of my stuff on smooth jazz shows.
Oh, wow, okay.
But it doesn't really fit into smooth jazz cleanly. And then it doesn't fit into traditional jazz cleanly, you know what I mean? So I've gone through like 4 different promoters, you know. I've got one that I'm working with right now he's trying to like place it all. So I'm happy that it doesn't fit neatly into one genre, but by the same token, how am I going to get airplay if it doesn't? So yeah, it's a neat problem to have.
Yeah, the problem of being a musician. Like, I thought a perfect example was on the Broken Roll.
Right.
It took you through different genres, and with the guitar pieces on it, I felt like I was listening to like a Guns N' Roses style, you know, like Slash solo on it, and it was so neat because I felt like I was on a journey almost listening to it. Did you feel anything like that while you were like making songs like that?
I feel it. Yeah, I mean, it's my job to inject emotion into what I'm writing. Because if I don't feel anything as I'm writing it, you're not going to feel anything as a listener. So yeah, it does. It takes me on this little trip. You know, I mean, if you were to ask me, you know, what I like. Pick a song off the album. I wouldn't know. I'm already writing something else. This is my new favorite because it's, you know, that's the one I'm writing now. So it's hard for me to just isolate it, but the job is to recall the trip, recall the journey, and be able to reproduce that for a listener. That's the cool thing.
So with this next album, would you say you're still in the infancy of the process, or would you say you've got it pretty good?
The process is much like anybody. I compare the process to a sculptor. You know, if you got a big rock and you start chipping it away at it, whatever's inside is going to reveal itself eventually. And a sculptor's going to chip away at it until he finds it. A writer, you know, even in class, you know, in classrooms, if we're sitting to do a writing project, I tell kids to just write, jump it in there, just write. The process of really creating something is in the edit. So once you get everything out, you know, and I play everything I want to play, whatever, it's about editing it to get it to the point where somebody can understand it. Make sense?
Yeah, like there's a saying from Da Vinci where when he was making the statue of David that's so famous, when he was chiseling away at the rock, he got rid of everything that wasn't David. And it's like that with what you're writing, or, you know, the song that you're making, you get rid of everything that isn't really the song.
Right.
You know,
Okay, I love it. Yeah, that's it.
Little twist there.
No, that's great. That's great. I got to remember that.
So with all these names that you come up with, is it just like so you're saying with 10th and Pine, it was like you had a little bit of inspiration from the girl that you're talking to, but with other ones, like I thought Tight Pants and like with that name.
Tight Pants and Baggy Pockets.
Yeah.
She yells at me for putting my wallet in my back pocket all the time because it stretches the pockets.
So
Tight Pants and Baggy Pockets.
So it's just little like everyday things, just pick a little title out of there.
It can be. Sometimes it's more profound than that, but I don't usually title a song until after I've written it. So yeah, the song's got to give me something. But, you know, Kumi's a great inspiration for that too. She'll just throw something at me and I'm like, yeah, I like that. Yeah, let's do that.
And as a person, would you say it's helped you find yourself in a way? And it's kind of given you a way to express yourself and put your identity almost into something?
Yeah, definitely. Because, you know, like I said, I don't know, I might have alluded to this earlier, but I didn't know where I fit in even with my own family. So when you find something that you're just like, I don't know who said it. Somebody said to me, like, if you don't lose yourself in what you're doing, you're wasting your time. You know, if you're still thinking about your problems, if you're still thinking about this, then you're not involved in what it is you're doing. So you gotta find something, and I've come to believe it. You know, you gotta find something that you just love doing so much that you're not preoccupied with all the other garbage that's going on. You know, so yeah, it's cathartic, it's liberating, it's just creating something. It's the opposite of war.
Yeah.
It's creation. You know, thank you, rent.
Yeah.
Do I owe somebody licensing now that I said that, right?
I mean, so we performed that here a couple years ago, so I guess, you know, we
Dude, it was great.
Oh yeah, that was such a good show.
Were you in
We
it?
did that. I was not, but
Oh,
one
okay.
of my good friends was in that.
Sweet, dude. Yeah, it was so good.
It's
Perfect example.
Try to think of that, and it's the opposite of war is a peace. It's creation,
It's
baby.
creation.
Yeah,
It is.
again, it's those words hold so true, and it's.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you're making something, not destroying
Right.
it.
Okay. Well, here's one for you.
Okay.
All right, so you were doing B flat.
Yes.
Okay. So B flat, A, G.
Okay.
So I want you to help me out here with G. Same type of thing.
Okay.
It's
So just hit it.
A.
Okay.
4, G, 2, 3, 4.
All right. I'm gonna try this one. So it's.
G, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, G.
Or
All right,
it's,
go back to the G.
Okay.
G, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, G.
Oh,
No, go back to the G.
You can tell I'm not
Back
a
to-
piano
no,
player. All right. So.
All right, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, G, 2. Now down to,
Okay.
yeah, 2, 3, 4. Up back to the G. Now I'm not going to complicate things. We're
Okay.
going to go to the G.
All right, so then
So
it's
G, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, yeah. G, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4. Okay, now we're going to go with this. 2, 3. G, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4.
Folks, this has been the most fun I have ever had here on Colonial Instructional Television. I don't really know how I'm talking. I'm having a little bit of trouble keeping that rhythm. But this was amazing. And I appreciate you for sticking around and watching. This is something I truly will never forget. I know I totally broke it here.
You messed it up so bad. That's all right.
Yeah, and I can't wait till next time. In a couple weeks, we'll have Superintendent Mr. Michael Christian on. That'll be a lot of fun. And again, with our production team, they were awesome today. Mr. Runge, again, thank you so much.
My pleasure, man. Thank
Teaching
you
me
so
some
much.
songs,
I know,
talking
we'll
about
try it.
life. You know, we went on so many different journeys with this conversation, and I'm sad that it's over, but I'm happy that we got to have it.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Jason.
Yep.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone, for watching, and until next time.